Welcome to Married to Movies. Industry insiders John Russell and Tracy Kring live and work happily in cinematrimony. They're sharing behind-the-scenes adventures of writing, producing, and appreciating films.
Good morning, babe.
Good morning, babe. How you doing?
Awesome.
You like my outfit? It's like Paul's Boutique. I'm a beastie boy.
Oh, okay. It's by Briston Maroney.
Yeah.
Unsponsored.
That's like that game show, The Floor. I tried watching that with Rob Lowe.
We actually started a couple of game shows on Netflix.
We wanted to try some game shows, yes. And The Floor, they show you a picture of something. There'll be a category, and they'll show you like pets. And some of them are so easy. It's just like, oh my God, this is for, people that have had brain injuries.
Right.
But then some of them are very, very difficult. If the category is like mountains and it shows you pictures of different mountains.
That one was pretty hard.
Woo!
As the contestant, there's 100 people on this floor standing on a subject matter.
Correct. That they think that they're good at.
That they think is their specialty.
Yeah, like, oh man, this is my shit. I know this one.
Yours would be film, for sure.
Film or rock stars or music or something like that.
Yeah.
Something in there. Yeah.
Mine might be film. Yeah, I think I could compete pretty well in film. I don't think they could show a picture of a movie.
Right.
That I wouldn't
It would be
know.
like, yeah, but could they show you pictures of movie stars?
No, I'm pretty good on that too.
Okay.
You have face recognition problems.
What?
You're like my iPhone.
What are you talking about? That is so not true.
You all the time are like, isn't that Meryl Streep? No. That's Margot Robbie.
I don't think. Wait. Okay. That is ridiculous. No one is going to mistake Meryl Streep for Margot Robbie. You used that for comedy. I just want to make that clear. I absolutely know the difference between Meryl Streep and Margot Robbie.
There's another game show, $1 Million Secret.
Yes.
Now, there's another game show like that.
Traders.
Traders? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
On Traders, they are competing for $250,000.
$250,000. Yeah.
On
$250,000, 250,000, same number.
$1 Million Secret, they're competing for $1 million.
They make that clear in the title.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I was like, but it is a several quarters of millions of dollars shittier.
It's $750,000 shittier.
Yeah,
than $1 Million
Secret.
Okay.
I'm enjoying that. I like the kind of like interpersonal espionage, drama of things.
Okay, so here's the thing I found fascinating. At the beginning of $1 Million Secret, they had 7 women and 5 men.
Mm-hmm.
So all the women got together at the beginning of the game.
Say Young gets some women together. She said, why don't we just all women get together?
Let's just knock out all the guys
out first.
Let's just vote the boys out. Let's make that a plan. And that way, after all the boys are gone, we will play the game. And the game basically is to figure out who has $1 million. It's like they start the game with 12 people, and it's like, one of you, we're going to give $1 million.
We were talking about why it is that I've seen the same strategy on Survivor and things like that. All women alliances,
right?
Basically,
right?
And how they.
It was a perfect plan. Just knock out the guys. That's all I had to do.
I've been in an organization that was especially meant to be all women,
mm-hmm.
no men allowed. And I mean, I understand the inner workings. I don't know if people understand that women. We're kind of all alphas. We're all, I think at a genetic level, we all understand that we're going to have to raise a bloodline. Whereas men can just go around and flippity flop and spread their seed all over the place and not really have to suffer consequences.
I'm pretty sure I've never flippity flopped and spread my seed all over the place.
Sure you have.
I understand.
Are you kidding me?
We're not all.
Let's not make me bring up references.
Wilt Chamberlain or Elon Musk, okay?
Look, it's hard to get women to fall in line behind other women because everybody thinks they have a good idea. And
it just feels like
their idea realized.
It feels like they really feel like they're on their own. I saw a map, and it said that if only women had voted
Mm-hmm.
in the last election.
Yeah. We know how that would have gone.
There are maybe 7 or 8 states, only 7 or 8 states that still would have been red.
Yeah, this is why they want to take our vote away. This is why they want to make sure that our birth certificate name matches our ID name.
Yeah.
In order to vote.
Look, women are smarter. They're just smarter. They can see through it, man.
I'll change my name.
No, do not change your name.
I don't want this stupid name anyway. Cringe. Who wants that? You know what?
That's not cringe. You're offending me now. Kring is a royal name. We are close to Kring, to Kings and Kris Kringle.
You can't even say your damn name.
We are close to Kings and Kris Kringle.
Okay. My maiden name is the best last name I've ever had. My first married name, awful.
Yeah, it was awful.
It had negative connotations that you could do to it.
Yeah, it's true.
So is yours, with people call you cringe.
People are always going to find a way to call you something.
Not when your name is Crutchfield.
Okay, I understand.
It's like Crutchfield.
You don't think Donald Trump was called
You can't get that wrong.
Donald Dump?
You know, I saw a woman on TikTok. She was talking about going to get her real ID.
Okay.
Which is, everybody's supposed to have theirs by like May 7th or something. That's probably going to get pushed again. I think this whole real ID thing is a way to screw women and immigrants over.
Of course.
People who, you got to show a ton of proof for all this shit.
Of course.
Okay. So this lady goes, she makes an appointment. She has the thing. She sits there for 2 hours.
Yes.
And it gets down to her social security card. The name on her social security card is still the name on her birth certificate.
Right.
And they're like, nope.
Whoa.
You don't get one. You never changed your name.
Oh, God.
On your social security card. What the hell? She's like, I've had so many jobs. I've shown this and as proof of ID so many times and nobody cares.
You're having difficulty with saying social security card.
Social security card.
Social security card.
Here, I'll say it now so I can dub it in every other time. Be quiet. Be quiet.
Okay. So. No, I'm not going to do it this time. No. You can trust me.
I am not Charlie Brown.
Oh, you're Charlie Brown.
And you're like, you have a tongue tie and you're managing it. Social security card.
Oh, see? Speaking of social security cards,
Ooh.
Subway.
Oh, God. I don't know what that has to do with
There was
anything.
no transition there.
Sometimes you kind of like want a certain thing. And you're like, I don't know what I want. But then you see it. We saw the Subway. And I was like, oh, yeah, Subway sandwich sounds great.
We used to have Subway sandwiches all the time, $5 foot long. Okay.
They're not anymore. Fun. They're $15.
Well, yeah.
First of all.
Unless
you use the app.
Unless you get the app.
So I went on the app. I freaking downloaded the damn app.
We downloaded the app.
I went on there, and then the one, I'm literally sitting in the parking lot of this one, and it does not take this.
Now they're $6.99 foot longs.
Yeah, but it doesn't take this promotion.
No, that one didn't take it.
We have to drive like 3 or 4 miles away.
We are really committed.
Yeah, well, and I've placed my order on the app, and then it went through, it took the money, and then it was just like, beep, 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 beep.
Spinning wheel of death.
It was like not confirmed.
Not confirmed. Spinning wheel of death. Yeah, the whole time. We
went into this one over in Airmont.
Oh, we're naming names, folks. We got receipts.
Yeah, I do have a lot of receipts on this because I complained to corporate, which they even say when you complain, we're not really responsible for franchisees, which I think is a ridiculous thing to say.
That's so not true. That is your name.
It's your brand.
Okay.
Like when I look it up on the map, I'll usually look at the reviews.
Yeah.
I did not. I just really wanted a Subway sandwich.
Totally should have done that.
We get in there and we're like.
Well, one of the things we do is it says, do you want extra of all of these different
less,
things?
Regular, or more?
More.
And
exactly.
I put like more tomatoes,
more lettuce,
pickles,
more absolutely.
Spinach,
yeah,
more everything.
Bring it, baby.
I like a ton of vegetables.
Let's go.
So we get there and we're like, hey, lady, this thing like has just kept spinning for like the whole time.
And
she's like,
not my problem.
She never even asked us for our name. It's like she wanted an argument.
She was not nice.
Whenever you work at Subway and you make sandwiches, you're called a sandwich artist.
I'm going to call her a garbage artist.
Oh, they did have our order. She handed it to us. That bag looked like a breadstick.
She was
not a sandwich.
The queen of refuse.
It's awful.
It was so bad.
It had one pickle on it.
Are you going to show pictures?
I can't. It had one pickle.
Okay.
One pickle. I put more. You know me. I love pickles.
This sandwich had so little of
everything.
Anything on it.
Anything.
It was the worst sandwich I've ever seen in my life. We went to the Albany Film Festival. There was a film that we were involved in 10 years ago called The Neighborhood That Disappeared. It was a documentary that we were editors on. And it probably had like 300 people.
Yeah.
It is an inconvenient truth in Albany that they don't want to believe that they could have had a different city.
I remember driving in because like we had driven straight from Tennessee.
Right.
And when we got into Albany, we were just like, what is that?
The Empire State Plaza, when you first arrive, it looks like something out of a cheap Buck Rogers.
Yeah.
It's just
like sci-fi.
It's like, this doesn't belong here.
All the pictures I had seen of Albany were like awesome little row houses. Mm-hmm. And, it was giving like Brooklyn or Georgetown. Mm-hmm. It was giving those vibes. And you pull up and it's just this whole giant mass of white buildings and this giant egg thing.
Yeah.
It was weird. And getting off the highway, you have to drive into the garage and come out on the street.
Stop.
It was really weird. And I was like, where have I moved us to? Because we'd never been there.
I need to see the movie The Brutalist because that's exactly what it is. It's brutalist architecture.
One thing I hate about the plaza, you're in upstate New York and Albany is upstate. That place is covered in white marble. Really? In the winter time.
Yeah.
You want everything that you're walking on to be marble?
Yes.
Outside.
Yes.
It is like an ice rink, but they don't even turn it into an ice rink.
Right.
Which would be like community friendly.
Right.
They have to shut it down during the whole winter.
The one thing that it's good for is watching fireworks.
They shoot the fireworks off there, and that is the best thing they do.
That's cool. But we had a great time. We saw a bunch of old friends, Donna Pennell and Mary Paley and Mary Dugan,
Susan Robbins,
and Stephen O'Connor, and
Joe
Don Rittner, and
Mike Moyen.
Lots of old friends up there. And and you forget it's only like an hour and a half. It's but
but it's like an hour to New York City, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Which way are you going to go?
There was a real estate edit that you were up for, and we missed the update on it. Please tell us.
Okay, so just a recap. I had agreed because I had no real estate on my reel, even though if you're an editor, you can edit.
You had no real estate.
The Australia guy, I agreed to do an audition edit because I figured, hey, even if he doesn't like my edit or choose me to edit for him,
right,
I'll have an example now that I can use.
For your reel.
I turned it in.
Mm-hmm.
No notes.
No notes.
He said, how much was that? Like how long did it take?
How many hours did that take for you to do?
Well, during COVID, the market kind of got flooded by people who think they can edit.
Right.
Like you could hire some child to cut something for you for probably $15.
Right.
The problem is that doesn't mean they can do anything more.
Right.
Can they elevate it? Can they change it? Can they understand they did not catch the vibe you want and make changes and accomplish what you want? And that's a lot of the backlash right now.
Editing is storytelling.
Yeah. And there's different qualities, certainly. Some people give you exactly what you want. Some people actually create something you weren't expecting. That's my job. He said, oh, wow, that's too much. Here's my usual rate card.
Right.
And it was $110 for what I had done.
Right.
But it was an AUD, Australian money.
Apparently in Australia, they have some sort of silly little money that is worth nothing in America.
Yeah. So that's $70 in the US.
$70.
I was like, look, fuck you. But then I was like, well, this is an opportunity and I'm going to, you're just like, let it go, dude.
Sometimes opportunities are the worst things that you can get. You have filled that space with something awful.
That's part of the process of being a filmmaker, not being afraid to have an empty hole in your life of work.
Yeah.
And it's terrifying. Looking at your rate card, it's a video like mine, and you have 5 revisions built into this thing.
Right.
Which tells me that you've been working with people who are not good. Let's do the math. Let's say you hire me to do a batch, which is what I could do for you to get the price down.
Right.
Hire me to do 10. But I watermarked the work that I gave him. Okay, so he can't use it.
Right.
We will have very little to no revisions. If each of those 5 revisions took you, let's say 10 minutes, watching it, writing the critique out, emailing it.
Right.
Over the course of 10 videos, you've wasted 1 whole work day to making revisions on things that should have nailed it right off the bat.
Here's the thing. It doesn't matter how smart and logical what you just said was. He wanted someone who was going to do it for $70.
That's a whole work day. You could be getting more jobs. That's a whole work day.
But that's not the way he thinks about it. That's not the way he's thinking about it.
Yeah, I know. People are stupid.
Yes.
I am the kind of person that when you work with me, you can actually grow your business.
Right.
You cannot just hit your marks and barely, marginally keep your clients happy. Fuck that guy. I've got it on my reel now.
There was another opportunity.
This was not horrible pay if it was just for a 60-minute film. This was not horrible pay. But then looking at the contract, they were like, and looking at their other films.
Right.
They were like shot on sub iPhone.
Right.
And I'm like, oh my God, this person is Delulu. They were like, okay, so the lead character needs to be running in the Amazon rainforest chased by like a gurgling amount of spiders, right? Gushing spiders.
Gushing spiders.
And I'm like, so I hop over
but
to
there's
Sora.
there's no footage. There's no footage of her running. Well, there's no green screen. There's nothing.
No, it's probably just her with her iPhone like,
oh my God.
So I sent her something I created in Sora, which was just like,
yeah, it was just
okay. Yeah. Is this because like, look, for the amount of money you're paying, there's no way anybody's animating any of this for you.
No.
But like, is this the kind of quality that would be okay for you? Because maybe it's supposed to be super campy, you know? And I can pull that off.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make like some Harry Potter spider.
No. It's not. It could be kind of Ed Woody or something like that. Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, sure.
So we can make it make sense, and stylize it. And they were like, sure, that's fine. But she needs to be running away from them in a rainforest. And I can't do this.
No, it was just gonna be a nightmare. And that was just one of them. There were just like there were a dozen things like that.
There's a point where I start to feel bad, not about myself, but that I am facilitating shit into the world.
But see,
somebody's going to do it.
You can't think of it that way. But because to them,
that might be their dream.
Yes, exactly. That might be the greatest thing that they ever do.
It could be.
And the fact that you're going to contribute to it is actually going to make it so much better.
It can be just very soul crushing, though.
No, it's not. Don't let it. No, because you are not the sum of your
that's when
work you've done for them.
Yeah. And there's a lot of projects out in the world that do not have my name on them. I was very reluctant to watch the one about Bob Dylan.
The Bob Dylan movie, A Complete Unknown.
I did not want to watch that. Bob Dylan gets on my nerves.
Yeah, he does. He does. And I mean, Bob Dylan's one of those people that I'm like, you got to respect it. Written some of the greatest songs of all time.
Yeah.
Several of the greatest songs of all time.
You
Maybe a
know-
half dozen of the
Absolutely.
greatest songs of all time.
Absolutely.
Just crazy.
But why is he got to be such a
He's kind of a dick. He's kind of a dick. You just, in interviews and anything you hear about Bob Dylan, he's kind of a dick. It's like, well, I want to?
It's strange that like such really creative brilliance comes from what seems like such a place of like disdain.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Well, I wonder if it has kind of that Marlon Brando syndrome. I'm such a good actor that I'm actually bored by acting. So I'm going to start throwing
but I think
obstacles in my way. Orson Welles basically...
Do you have to be tortured?
Yeah, but he had kind of a disdain for film by the end.
I do have to have disdain for something before I can make it better.
You feel like disdain is part of the creative process?
I don't know. It can be for me because there's a certain amount of energy that has to be built up in order for you to be able to turn something into something else. And that energy can come from like love and happiness.
That's weird.
Or
That's
it
weird.
Can come
it's
from
like,
hate.
yeah, it's like you got to build the hate to fire the beam.
Yeah. Or like build the love of it, you know? And maybe it's easier to build hate.
Maybe it is. Well,
maybe love has to come from something else. I don't know. It just
I was completely surprised by A Complete Unknown.
I cried a lot after I watched A Complete Unknown.
It was such a
I just laid there and cried.
It was a beautiful movie. Is it?
I don't know.
Is it true? You know what it felt like? It felt like myth building. It felt like there were
the beginning of the film.
Oh, the beginning of the film is so good.
I just wanted more Pete Seeger. I was like, "Where's this motherfucker been?"
Pete Seeger
and Woody Guthrie
and Bob Dylan comes in, and Woody Guthrie can't talk, and he's so sick. And Bob Dylan sings him his song about Woody Guthrie, and you know, whether or not that happened or not,
I hope it did.
Oh my God, what a beautiful moment.
Yeah. And Pete really starts to support Bob
Ed
Dylan.
Norton as Pete Seeger, just a genuine.
It was great for him.
He's just someone who's full of light.
Yeah.
You know, and positivity.
And he had a hard time, it seemed, dealing with Dylan.
His own sort of purism, his own like, and his own kind of like wanting everybody to kind of get along vibe got in the way of Dylan, because Dylan didn't give a shit about that.
Timothée Chalamet, I thought, did Bob Dylan better than Bob Dylan.
Yes, I think he sang Bob Dylan better than Bob Dylan.
Yeah, I think he did.
He was incredible.
Yeah. Okay, but anytime anyone was watching Bob Dylan play in this movie,
right,
I did not understand at all the expression on their face.
I think I understood. To me, it was like admiration and fear, kind of at the same time. Fear that they were seeing something that was so amazing. And Dylan says it at one point in the movie. When they hear my songs, they just want them to be their songs. You know?
Like when they ask me, like where the songs come from, they're not asking that.
They just want them
why they didn't come to them.
Why didn't they come from me?
At the end, halfway through, it kind of got boring and repetitive, in my opinion.
No, it didn't.
But when Joan Baez comes,
should have won Best Picture.
It's like the Cuban Missile Crisis, and we're on the brink of like nuclear war.
There's an example of myth making, whether or not that is true or not.
Sure, he's down there.
He went down there singing the song about anti-war song.
So Joan Baez is listening to him sing this song at this very appropriate moment the whole time, and it looks like she's just smelling a pile of shit or like it.
No,
I can't tell what she's thinking.
No,
it's not attraction.
Well, it was attraction because she went home and fucked him.
Yeah, but I don't know what that was, and I feel like everybody did it, so it was like a directorial choice.
James Mangold may have said that. It's possible
that it was like they were watching like a cow getting disassembled, like butchered. They were just like, what?
Well, I think he did want it to be awe. Like, you were watching a magic trick. He didn't want,
They're just sitting there like, what? the whole time.
Well, yeah. And I think that is when you are presented with a miracle, what is your response?
Yeah, I guess. It was very interesting, that choice. And I do really believe it was a choice.
I really enjoyed Joan Baez's character in it. She was complicated. She was jealous. She was turned on. She wrote one of the best songs, Diamonds and Rust,
right,
about getting a call from Bob Dylan.
See, I'd rather listen to Joan Baez than Bob Dylan any day.
Oh, Joan Baez is one of the greatest voices in history. I mean, it's just amazing.
And they did my favorite song. I was sitting there going, oh, I wonder if they should do my favorite song, Silver Dagger.
Mm-hmm.
They should do that one. And they did.
Yeah, it was a beautiful, beautiful.
I loved the movie, film. And I was very deeply affected by it. I cried for like 15 minutes afterwards, like really crying. And I don't really know why, but I don't know, something about the struggle of it, or I don't know, it spoke to me.
We also saw another movie. It was a very different movie called Mother's Instinct, with Jessica Chastain and Anne Hathaway. And we watched that movie just because of that cast. There was nothing that made me go, oh, wow, yeah, I want to see that. So you got Anne Hathaway and Jessica Chastain in basically a film where it's them, interacting with each other.
I can't even tell you the levels of shit this movie was. I have no idea why these women were involved. None.
I don't have that same opinion,
dude. But it was terrible.
It was a pretty cheesy film.
No, it was like, okay, really? The 5 people around this person die.
Yes.
And the cops are just like, oh, poor her. Let's give her this orphan child now.
Somebody in this film, who will remain unnamed, is basically like Freddy Krueger. Okay? I mean, they are killing people. It is the worst. Right and left.
And you know what? I highly recommend people watch things that are bad. I absolutely think there's value to watching things that are terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Learn their lessons, because maybe they didn't know they were making mistakes. Maybe they knew, but they were already on the train and couldn't jump off. But it's bad. And like, if you're a screenwriter, you really should pull up the script for that.
Sometimes movies that are adapted from books don't work.
It was like a Nicholas Sparks book.
It was really cheesy. Yeah. But as a book, I would say it would be kind of pulpy and maybe kind of fun. And this wasn't fun at all. It was just really sad and depressing.
No, it wasn't sad or depressing. It was comical and satirical and cartoonish.
But they weren't playing it comical or satirical.
They were trying so hard.
Yeah, they were like just digging for the drama. It was. Well, it wasn't even melodrama. There was nothing mellow about it.
No, it was like a soap opera. Watch that film.
Mother's Instinct.
Watch it. Look at what they're doing wrong. Look at how they're missing every opportunity and mark, and look up that script, and it's just fucking bad.
We should have a night of almost like a film festival of movies you watch that will make you never want to have kids.
Oh, yeah, that one.
That one is definitely one. Like The Babadook is one of those. Hereditary is one of those. Just like, okay, this is why the birth rate is going down so far.
Cujo for me.
So there was a opportunity to make a pitch deck, which was interesting because it was kind of like we were given this is what it needs to be. It needs to be shot in Mexico. It needs to be with this budget. It needs to be in this genre. And if you have something, send it to us. Of course, we had nothing.
No,
nothing.
That's not going to stop me.
No. It's just like, okay.
I'm like, okay, what's a good idea?
That's an interesting challenge.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, well, let's come up with an idea for something. And we did.
Which is exactly how Origian started.
Yeah.
Origian started the same way as someone who's like, we have a spaceship set. Come up with an idea that we could use our spaceship set for.
Sure.
And we came up with, I think, is a really freaking awesome
Except
film.
for the ending. We kind of chilled out on Saturday and worked on a pitch deck. And then it was given to the person, the executive producer. And they kind of called our bluff and asked for the script.
Yeah, because she's kind of a badass.
At the point where they're like, oh, you don't actually have it written. It's like, do you just lie?
What do you do?
Should we just lie and say we have it?
Yeah, but then you have to like write it. And is this something that, because writing something is like giving like a piece of your body over. It's your time, it's your energy, it's your heart. Oh my God. It takes a lot to write. You better want to see it. You better want to do it if you're going to write it.
I disagree that it's some chunk of it's not a rib. Jesus Christ, Adam. It's not a freaking rib. Look, yeah. If you think that there's a finite amount, sure, it's a chunk.
You're my rib. I'm looking for the woman that has my rib, and you're my rib. That is not a compliment.
There's not a finite amount. And the more that you access it, the more that there is.
I understand that. I'm just saying.
So I don't think it's some sort of sacrifice.
I'm just saying it takes time.
It's not some organ donation.
I don't want to write something that I am never going to see made.
Well,
I understand that, but everything I've ever written, there has been the intent of seeing it made.
Well, you don't think this is intent to see it made?
Well, it could be cool. It could be very cool.
But you won't.
I'm not saying I won't.
It's really not
I need more reason.
Look, you have to get out of scarcity mindset.
I'm already out of scarcity mindset. I would just like her to say that she wants it or that she's interested in us writing it.
When you send in a pitch deck on something and you don't even have the script done, which we do this all the time, or we don't have an ending, or we have half of it written, you're going to get that chip called in.
Always. It's always going to be, what else do you have?
Because I make a really good pitch deck.
Right. It's always going to be, what else do you have? If you had a script, they would say, do you have a sizzle?
I did, however, start making other projects that we have in the ethos.
Right.
I did start making their pitch decks because really,
I really enjoy that. I enjoy that process of a pitch deck. It starts to kind of, get you excited about the movie you might see.
Well, and a lot of them are yucky.
Well, they just kind of look the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is a chance for you to...
It's a creative medium.
Yeah, exactly. You could really kind of, break through.
Yeah. It's just people are doing them like stupid Canva templates and boring.
Well, we will see how that all turns out this week. Another opportunity for an update next week. I think we are halfway through the season.
Well, this is episode 7.
Oh, so we're more than halfway through the season.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this has been
5 more episodes.
Absolutely. So stay tuned. Was that really the ending? That wasn't very good.
Well, you did it.
It's hard not to get romantic about movies. Thanks for listening to Married to Movies. Jon and Tracy will meet you for breakfast tomorrow.